I've collected a lot of pairs of soccer cleats over the years, so today we're doing my updated 2026 collection of all 35 plus pairs. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, kicking off the video with our first brand, we have my New Balance cleats. So to start us off, we're going to be going with probably one of my favorite pairs. I'll cut that out. We're going to start us off with these New Balance Furons. Only the two studs at the back is very different for sure. I actually wore these cleats for almost an entire season in my third year of university, so lots of good stuff in these. They're super comfortable, super thin. Big fan of that. So yeah, got lots of love out of these ones. They have seen better days, but again, another great boot. And then moving on, we'll go to the newer Furons. I actually wore these for my first ever season in BC League One. And I also wore these ones in my fourth year at UMBC. So lots of good memories in these ones. Scored some goals, some fun stuff. So yeah, another great boot. And then moving on, we have another pair of older Furons. These ones are pretty bad condition, as you can see, pretty worn down and stuff. So, but these ones, one of the softest pairs of cleats I've ever used, and definitely a big fan of them. I actually got these two pairs from a teammate, so shout out to him. And yeah, so big fan of the New Balance ones. And then moving on, I also got these 442 Elite New Balance ones. They're really soft, kind of like New Balance's version of a Tiempo. So I actually wore these ones for the same season I wore these. So yeah, big fan of New Balance. I was kind of shifting towards New Balance, and then obviously now we have the Sokito one. So stay tuned to the end of the video, and I'll show you all the Sokito boots I have. So yes, that is it for New Balance. Let's move on to the next brand. All right, now moving on to our next brand, we have Puma. So we only have the 3 pairs of Puma boots. I've actually yet to wear a single one of these in an actual game, but I have trained in these ones a decent amount, and then I've trained in these ones I think maybe 2 or 3 times. So we'll start with these ones I actually got off my friend. They're ripped pretty heavily in some places. Yeah, they're ripped. They were ripped all around here on the edge. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, so I had to glue them. But yeah, I wore them, I think maybe 1 or 2 training sessions. Honestly, I just find them they're super heavy, so I didn't end up wearing those for very many sessions. But and then these ones I actually was able to pick up at Value Village, which is crazy. Elite Pumas in kind of this cotton candy colorway, super cool colorway to be fair. I just, I'm not a big fan of Puma cleats, I think. So I wore these ones a couple sessions, nothing too crazy. I think they're not bad, but I don't think there's anything super exceptional about them. And then moving on to our last pair, we have the Brazil Neymar Jr. colorway. These ones are super sweet. I'm glad I got a pair, got to get my hands on these. I actually got them again from the same friend. I got lots of these cleats, so shout out Trevor. Got a bunch from him. I traded him a pair of Tiempos for these. So I mean, I wore these for a couple training sessions, thought I was Neymar. I'm not a Neymar kind of player, so it doesn't really work for me that well. But yeah, I think they're really cool cleats and super cool ones to have in my collection. But yeah, would I buy another pair of Puma cleats? Probably not. So yeah, this is my Puma collection. Pretty short, pretty simple. Only Futures, so I'm yet to have any Kings or Ultras. So maybe in the future, Puma, you want to send me a pair? I'll test them out for a video. So yeah, this is my Puma section. Time to move on.
Tastes good like soul food. Parked up outside in the old school.
Now we got the Adidas. With all these Adidas boots, you'd think I'm an Adidas athlete, but no. I just, for a while there, I liked Adidas boots, so we managed to pick up a bunch. So we'll start it off here. We have some 11 Pros in the leathers. These ones are probably some of the softest pairs of cleats I've ever worn. I actually found these in my locker when I moved to UMBC, so I only actually wore them for 1 session, but unfortunately one of the studs is quite broken there, so I'm kind of unable to wear them, so I don't really wear them much. But again, super nice pair of boots, so I might be having to restore them in the future. And then moving on, we have my F50 indoor cleats. So these ones I wear kind of if I'm ever on the concrete trying to get a good session in, or if I'm somewhere where you can't bring cleats. So whenever I go on vacation, say we're Mexico stuff, I'm bringing indoor boots like this because nice to have, and you can kind of play out anywhere. So yeah, indoor cleats, those ones I wear, I would say a decent amount. So moving on, we got some more bangers here. We got these F50s in the leather edition. Super great colorway. I actually had this pair when I was younger. Obviously not the elite version, but yeah, got them from my cousin, so they were one of my favorite pairs of boots of all time. So super happy I was able to pick these up. They're pretty, these ones are absolutely just destroyed, but I'm glad I have them just, sit on my shelf and be a part of my collection. Keeping it in the F50 range, we have another pair, these blue ones right here. I wore these ones in a couple of games, I think, in my third year. Nice boots. I love the way the heel fits and stuff, so very comfy, and the leather toe box I'm a big fan. So yeah, I was a big F50 guy. You have to try any newer Adidas boots, really. So maybe again, if anyone sends me a pair, I'll try them out. But until then, we're still with Sokito. So yeah, we got these. Moving on, we have these crazy fasts. Honestly, I wore these ones for a couple practices and a couple games. I actually did score game winner against Whatcom in a postseason game wearing these. 1-0 victory, not bad at all. But yeah, I don't mind them. I just think they're not for me. I think, yeah, just not. They fit my feet good, but I don't know. I just didn't love the way they fit. And moving on, we have another pair of F50s in the leather, full leather. These ones are super old. As you can see, the inside's kind of ripping, but they're basically brand new. I got them off Depop, I think. So they're brand new, but obviously when you don't wear the cleats for a long time, they can kind of start to fall apart and heel and stuff. So these are basically brand new. Just the heel is seen better days. So like, look at that sole plate is nice and shiny. So but yeah, I've only worn these ones a couple times, but I mean, I got them for 30 bucks, so you can't complain, and definitely a cool one to have in the collection. All right, moving on, we're gonna head over here to the Predator line. We have these kind of older Predators. I got these ones at Value Village, I think for $5. These are the official pro model, like the Elites with the kind of softness, and they've got like the rigid rubber on them. I think they're pretty cool, but honestly, they're a bit too heavy for me, so I don't wear them. But cool just to have in the collection. So I'm also selling them, so if anyone wants them, let me know. I'll give you a good price. And moving on, we'll move on to my Copas. These ones I have worn a decent amount. Actually, these are my metal stud ones. So big fan of these ones. I absolutely love the way the Copas fit. I think these are an excellent pair of cleats to play in and to train in when you're on the grass. So these ones have been used a decent amount, but still in great condition, and definitely a big fan of kind of how it feels like leather. Obviously it's not leather, it's synthetic, but no, big fan, and definitely some pair that, until I get Sokito medals, will be one of my pairs of medals I use for sure. So yeah, good pair to have there. And moving on again, we'll go with these Predators. These are the David Beckham ones, I believe from 2006. I could be wrong. But yeah, super cool. There you can see them more. Tons and tons of detail on these ones. These are actually the only pair I have with the tongue strap. So very cool to have a pair like this. I would love to get a newer pair in the future as well to test that out and see, how the technology's come along. So, but yeah. Nice to have those in the collection as well. A super cool pair to have on this rack and on display. All right, we're gonna move on to some of the oldest pairs of cleats I have. So actually, we'll do these blue ones first. These blue ones I bought off a teammate my first year just because I loved the Nemesis, and quite hard to find. So these ones I've worn in a couple practices, and I don't think I've played an official game in them, but I think I might have done like some inner squats and stuff in these. So, but overall, big fan of the Nemesis line. Yeah, for sure. Moving on from there, we have these two cleats. These are probably some of the oldest pairs of cleats I own in my collection. When did I get these ones? I was playing, I think I got these Sport Check Online. So these I got, I want to say in grade 8. which is absolutely crazy that I thought my feet were size 9 in grade 8, even though I'm an 8.5 now. You know, I was doing trying to get up a size so I get new boots. But yeah, no, I've kept really good care of these. 2018 World Cup, Paul Pogba inspired me to get these ones. So obviously I picked them up with the boost insoles, and I actually wore these for quite a long time. So I'm surprised they're in such good condition. Obviously, nice piece of memorabilia to have. So I keep those ones for sure. And then again, we have these ones. So these ones I think I actually got, I want to say in grade 7, in Skagit in the United States at the outlet store. And yeah, I've worn them. I've worn these in games. I've worn these in practices for years and years, and somehow they're still kicking around. So I think that's a testament to the 360 agility bandage that these ones have, and I think they're great boots. So yeah, I wish Adidas still had the kind of Nemesis line, but unfortunately they don't. But yeah, so there you have it. And just like that, that is all the Adidas boots I have in my collection. You might think that's a lot. Now next, we're gonna head into our Nike boots. And that, I'll tell you right now, is a lot of pairs. Time to go through all my Nike boots. We have tons of pairs here. Let me just count out, see how many pairs of Nike boots I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pairs of Nike boots. So you could say I was a Nike guy for many, many years. So to start us off, I'm going to tell you, we have my favorite Nike cleat of all time, Hypervenom 2 here. This is my first ever pair of Hypervenoms, and I've kept this one all these years because I absolutely love the colorway. I know it is a women's colorway, but that didn't matter to me. I bought these ones because I love the way they look. And yeah, I actually wore these ones for quite a few years when I was younger. And big fan of these at all. So that is kind of one of my favorites, and I keep that on my shelf over here as a decoration to remember one of my favorite boots. So now let's start over on this side. We'll start with this pair. We have these Vapors. These ones I actually did wear for my entire second year. I scored a couple goals in these, got some assists, it was a lot of good memories in these boots. So overall, these boots have been through a lot, but definitely one of my favorite pairs. I think I probably owned in my collection. And moving on, we have these Superflies. These ones are pretty sweet. I actually did score my first ever postseason goal in these ones. So lots of good memories with these. Unfortunately, lots of the studs fell off. So they kind of became unusable, but other than that, they're in good condition. So maybe I'll turn these into SGs. We'll see. Comment down below if you want me to try and turn these into SGs. All right, moving on, we have another OG pair from grade 8. These are Nike Skin, so not the elite ones, the Pro Hypervenom 3s. And they were high sock, and I did cut the sock off them, which is probably one of my biggest regrets in life. But you know, it's done is done. But yeah, big fan of Hypervenom 3s. I think it's probably my favorite boot that I've ever used. When I was younger, obviously. Now we have the technology so much better. But yeah, for a long time, if you asked me what my favorite boot was of all time, I would have said Hypervenom 3s. So sticking with that Hypervenom track, we have a pair that is one of my favorite colorways I've ever seen before. We have these Hypervenom 2s in the high sock. Absolute beautiful pair of cleats. Massive fan of the Hypervenoms, obviously, but yeah, I think anytime you can get a hand on a pair like this in good condition. I think I wore these ones for many, many media day shoots, as well as a couple games, couple training sessions, because obviously you don't want them to break, because you know, once they're gone, they're gone. So I try and keep them in pristine condition as much as you can, and they sit on my rack here on display, because yeah, just look at those. Can't beat that. Can't beat that at all. And then we're gonna move back down over here. We have this pair of Tiempos. Again, these were in my locker when I got to UMBC, so I got to keep them. Someone left them, but I wore them for a session or two. Honestly, they're just too heavy. I'm just not a Tiempo guy, to be honest. I like the newer ones a little bit, but I don't think I'll ever be a really big Tiempo guy. So these ones don't really get worn, so they're kind of just sitting in the bin a bit. We're actually gonna leave these two right here, because these two are some bangers, if you can see, and we're gonna move on here. We have these Kylian Mbappe Superflies. These ones are wicked design. I wore these ones for a whole postseason, I believe. I think that was, I want to say, my second year. In postseason, I wore these the whole time. Or maybe my third year, but I don't know. These ones are pretty sweet. Absolutely love the colorway, and a big fan of those ones. And moving on, we have the CTR 360 remakes. I bought these ones when they dropped because I was like, you have to. So I've been keeping them. I wore them a couple times. Nothing crazy. They're a little bit dirty, but as you can see, I've kept them pretty good condition. I still have the box and everything. So overall, big fan of these ones. But overall, I think it's just a great pair to have in my collection because pretty hard to get your hands on these now. So yeah, another great pair. Maybe less to wear, but more to boost the collection in the racks. Moving on to a pair now that I wore a ton in my third year. We have these Magistas. These ones are absolutely sweet. The sole plate melted off a couple times, so I've done some crazy glue jobs. Yeah, like as you can see, they're absolutely cooked. Which is unfortunate because they're such a great model, and I'm really a big fan of them. But yeah, so these ones have been retired to the shelf now because, you know, it's not worth destroying them when you can have them on display now. So yeah, we have those ones. And then moving on to a pair of Superflies. These are the same ones as the white ones, but in the black colorway, obviously. So we have these here brand new in the AG studs. Basically, I think I got these at Winners for 80 bucks, which is crazy steal. So I've been trying to sell them on Marketplace, but fortunately no one's buying them. So yeah, if you're looking for Superflies size 9 in the AG, hit me up on Instagram and we can work something out. All right, moving on to some more Magistas. We're gonna do this black pair and this Women's World Cup Pros together. These are the Elites in the black, blacked out version I got from my teammates. Nice pair of boots. I think I wore them for a couple of training sessions. Just a bit bulky and not really for me. And then these ones we have, these are the Pros. I just picked these up in Calgary when we were there one time for, I think, 30 bucks. Great colorway, and honestly they fit really well, so I've trained in these quite a few times, and yeah, big fan of the colorway, and once again, big fan of the Magista line. So yeah, and now for our last two big ones on the Nike side. These ones are pretty crazy. We have the Vapor 11s in this Volt Green colorway. These ones have seen better days. Fully cracked on the sole plate. These were my dad's. So he wore these till basically the end of their lives until he got new ones, and then I was able to take them. So I was pretty happy about that. So I've been able to wear these for a couple practices and a couple games. But obviously after every game I have to re-super glue them and take good care of them. But yeah, it was pretty neat. I was able to wear these in a League One game when my parents came to watch. So it was pretty cool to be able to wear these boots with my dad in the stands. So yeah, and then moving on to our last pair. This pair is currently in my boot rotation. We have these Retro Vapors. With the carbon fiber and everything in the SG ones. So these are my current SG boots along with the Copas you saw earlier in the video. So yeah, these ones I actually do still wear in game. But yeah, pretty sweet. Really, really rare to find these. This old of Vapor in this great of condition. Like I got these and they were basically brand new. So pretty insane to find these. I got these in Marketplace in Edmonton actually when we were there for a trip. So what can I say? Marketplace is the GOAT for a reason. So yeah, these pair still in my current rotation, and that's why they're currently in this boot bag. So yeah, and just like that, that's it for all our Nike boots. Hope you guys enjoyed that part of the video. Some pretty crazy pairs, some ton of nostalgic stuff for me, and yeah, so growing up I was kind of a Nike athlete. So now we're gonna move on to our last section of the video. These boots are bangers. Let's get it. All right, we saved the best for last. We got the Sokito boot collection. Obviously, we're always trying to grow the pairs and grow the number in our collection. So we have 4 pairs here. We have the first pair of Sokitos I ever bought, which were the Ice in the AG studs. I wore these ones for a long time, actually. I think majority of my 4th year. Yeah, I got them at Christmas last year. And I've worn them for every game, every training since. Massive fan. I love the way they fit my feel. And obviously I'm not doing an ad for them. they're not paying me to say anything, but I generally choose Sokito because I love the way they make my feet feel. And I love the colorways as well. You know, I'm a big advocate for look good, play good, and you can't tell me these boots don't look good. So we have our AGs in the ice. And then moving on, we got the Mr. Lulu collab. These ones are absolutely insane. I'm a huge fan of the tongue. And of course, you know, we got the CS14 on. Shout out to Boot Inc. for sending me that stuff. Yeah, so we got these ones, pretty limited colorway. So I wear these ones when we're on grass, obviously, but if it's too wet and muddy, then that's when the metals come in. So I'm hoping to get a pair of Sokitos in the metal soon. So maybe you'll stay tuned, we'll make a video on that one. But again, super rare pair, and really happy that I was able to get these ones into my collection. We're gonna save these ones for next. We actually have a brand new pair of the Sokitos in the Atlas colorway. These was for AFCON. Designed for AFCON. We got the red, and then of course with the Sokito. These ones are absolutely brand new. I've only ever taken these out of the package for the photo shoot, actually, which you would have saw in the video that came out a couple days ago. So if you haven't seen that one, make sure you go check it out. It was a really fun day of doing photography and modeling with my uncle. But yeah, we actually got some cool shots of these ones. So yeah, these ones I'm saving. Obviously until either the green ones fall apart or, you know, we need to get some new red in the colorway. But yeah, I got these ones and we're keeping them in the box. Now, moving on to my newest pair of cleats, as well as my most favorite pair of cleats, I think, I've ever worn, to be honest. Obviously, I have lots of good credit because I've worn hundreds of boots throughout my career, but I've never been able to put on a cleat and go, oh wow, I love the way these feel, and then train with them instantly. I've always got blisters. Always something wrong, you know, and I was able to pick up these Sokitos in the new BioTouch Sapphire colorway. I think they're amazing. I love the padded heel. The upper is just extremely soft. Of course, you know, we got the CS14 on it from Boot Inc. again. And I think these are just absolutely insane boots. Like, I just love them. I've already got another pair coming in the mail, so unfortunately weren't here in time for this video, but I got these exact colorway in the FG studs to pack away to save for a little endeavor I got coming up, hopefully within the next couple of months that you guys will be seeing videos on for sure. So yeah, this is my Sokito collection. And you're probably thinking, oh, you know, he just says all this stuff because he's an ambassador, but as you can see, I take my boot game pretty seriously. So for me, finding a pair of cleats that fit and I can play well and feels good in is a big deal for me. So, and that's why I've chosen to be a Sokito ambassador. So I'm really thankful for the brand for helping me out, sort lots of these boots out. So yeah, that is my Sokito collection. You guys have probably noticed that up there, we brought these boots down. These are, you know, probably the craziest boots in my entire collection. So I didn't want to include these ones with the Nike, but we do have, we got to get them out of the case. We have these Marcus Rashford signature boots, completely dead stock. Packaging's never been taken out of them. Just look at these cleats. It doesn't get any better than those. These cleats are absolutely insane. So yeah, I've never worn these. I keep them all kind of locked up in here in this, like, look at full box and everything, still completely brand new. So yeah, these are probably some of the craziest cleats in my entire collection. I care about these a lot, even when I travel with them. So when I move places to places, they're always in the box, stay in, like, I just pack it like this. So yeah, obviously Rashford is my favorite player, so you know, I had to pick these up the minute they dropped. So they dropped on Halloween. I believe it was my second year or my first year, I can't remember. So I woke up right when they dropped, bought them, and then they sold out. So I was pretty happy. I got the pair in my size, so we keep them. So we keep them nice and clean and nice in this case right here on display. And yeah, craziest part of my collection. Yeah, I'm not gonna put these ones in the top 5 because they would obviously win. So we're basically in the top 5 on boots I actually wear. But yeah, these are my Marcus Rashford signature cleats. And yeah, they stay on display in my room next to my Marcus Rashford PSA 9 card. So yeah, got the whole display going. So we're gonna put these back, and then it's time to head to our top 5. I'm gonna give you my top 5 pairs in my collection. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're gonna start with number 5. We have the Sokito Ice in the AG ones. We just saw those ones in the last segment with the Sokito. So I'm not gonna do too much talking on this one, but yeah, these are my number 5 spot. So we'll put those right there. And then this is a tough call for number 4, but we had to do it. We have the 2018 World Cup Predators. Obviously these ones just meant a lot to me because, you know, watching Pogba play, I thought I was playing like Pogba at the time. We all know I wasn't, but yeah, I don't know, just it's pretty inspiring to me to be able to watch those, you know, when I was younger, and be able to see the guys on TV and then have the boots and try and mimic and play like that. So that meant a lot to me. So that's why these are currently sitting at the number 4 spot. All right, and now we're moving on to the number 3 spot. I know I talked a lot about the Hypervenoms early on in this video, but you know, the Hypervenom line was ultimately my favorite cleats and favorite line of all time. So I'm still trying to pick up some of the newer remakes ones, but of course they're quite expensive, so it's been tough. But yeah, these are just absolutely gorgeous boots, and I'm insanely happy that I got to have them into my collection. So that is 5 to 3. Moving it to number 2. This was a tough pick, but we decided to go with the Volt Green Vapor 11s that I got from my dad. Obviously the meaning behind these cleats is a lot, and I'm really happy every time I get to wear them. So for me, the rarity plus the story, being able to wear them, for me that's enough to give to number 2. So those are my number 2 cleats. Moving on to the number 1 pair of cleats in my collection, we have the new Sokitos. I know you're probably thinking, oh no, Mosquitoes, but genuinely, I love these boots so much, and I could not be a bigger advocate for the BioTouch line. So if you haven't already checked them out, I highly suggest you go check them out. They're not paying me to say that, they're not paying me anything, but I just generally love those cleats. So yeah, this is my top 5 here. Big array of cleats. Obviously none of the New Balance ones or the Puma made it into it, but yeah, a little bit different spread. But yeah, my top 5. Let me know what you think. What'd you do differently? Do you have a different top 5? Let me know in the comments down below. And hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, yeah, just comment down your favorite boot, and make sure you leave a like. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. We're hoping to get 1,500 soon. We're a bit off, but you know, reach for the stars. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.